This segment is brought to you by Central National Bank. Put our ag professionals to work for you.
Welcome back to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Conrad Kabus. Farm Factor recently visited Highland Community College to explore their grape and wine program, and we talked with Dominic Martin, an instructor at HCC.
Well, we have a pilot winery here, so we make wine commercially. But most of what I do is help people with winemaking problems or winemaking issues where they have some questions, or they might have some wine that's got a flaw of some kind. And so I try and coach them through that, so the wine can be helped or repaired, or best case would be not make a flawed wine in the first place.
The Viticulture Enology Science and Technology Alliance, or VESTA, chose Highland to be the Kansas state site.
VESTA is mostly an online school, but Highland is the state chosen by VESTA to be the college in the state of Kansas for the VESTA program. And VESTA is a terrific organization. It's about 21 states, I think, so 21 colleges. Each state has one college, and it's a way for people to learn online about viticulture and enology. You know, many years ago when I went to school, I went to UC Davis, there was Davis, Fresno State, and Cornell, and that was pretty much it. Now there's 21 schools pretty much on top of that. So it's a lot easier with explosion in the industry, the growth in the industry, and not just for winemaking, but for meaderies, places making apple cider, hard cider, breweries, all those things in distillation places. They've all just really exploded in the last couple of years. Investors had a hand in that across the country.
As we said in the beginning of the show, KDA awarded a specialty block grant to the HCC program.
Specialty crop block program is funded by, the funding originates with USDA. They have an appropriation, and they give a certain chunk of that funding to each state, depending on several different criteria, I think one of which is the number of acres of specialty crops grown in the state. Kansas Department of Ag manages the Kansas portion of that money, and each year they put out a call for grant applications, and the past several years we've put in an application for as the Viticulture Enology program to get some funding to support some of the activities that we do. Since we're the only school in Kansas doing grapes and wine, we do a little bit of what you might call extension activities. If a new grower wants to get started, they typically call us. Same thing with a new winery. Existing growers and existing winemakers also give us a call, say, hey, I've got this problem XYZ, and we can either talk about it on the phone, or we've gone to visit some of their places. There's a bit of funding to grant to award students some stipends for internships that we're going to try to get started in the spring of 2015.
After the break, we learn more about the Viticulture and Enology program at the Wamego Center. Stay tuned.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress Powered by Kansas farmers.
Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor on AGam in Kansas. I'm your host, Conrad Kabus. Recently, Farm Factor traveled to Wamego, Kansas to visit the Viticulture and Enology program at HCC. We talked with Dominic Martin, an instructor. Take a look. There are several different varieties of grapevine that HCC uses for their program to give students a wide exposure to the grape industry in the United States.
The Oregon Terrell Vineyard was planted in 2009. It's about an acre, so about 1,000 vines, maybe 900. It's mostly Traminette and Chamerson. Those are two hybrids, a white and a red. We also have some Vitis vinifera trials going there to see if there's any Vitis vinifera vines that might survive in Kansas. So we have Riesling, we had Cabernet Franc and Chardonnay, we just got rid of those. We have Lemberger, which is a German red variety that looks pretty interesting, seems to be pretty cold tolerant. We also have a couple of rows of Vignoles.
There are several unique characteristics to the grapevines that HCC uses.
Well, the Traminette should be, it's a white. It's a very complicated pedigree to the vine. It has some Riesling characteristics basically, and that gives it some of its cold tolerance. It should ripen and turn, the cluster should turn from sort of a light green to sort of a golden cast. And you almost get a Riesling, or sounds kind of funny, a kind of candle wax or mineral oil characteristic to it. We usually make it, in fact we always make it with about 2.5–3% residual sugar, because if it were bone dry, it would be, to most people's palate, it would be a little bit too tart perhaps. So the added sugar that's in the wine covers up the high acidity. Chamberson's a hybrid. It's once again has a very complicated pedigree. It has a wonderful red fruit characteristics of like red plums, cranberries, cherries, a little bit of blackberry. It's real dark in color, and we put a little bit of oak we have some oak products. We don't have any barrels here, but we have some oak products, so we put a little bit of oak on the, and we make it in a dry fashion and then also in a slightly sweet residual sugar version.
Students study various parts of the growth cycle of grapevines, how to safely use planting, cultivating, spraying, and harvesting equipment, and how to make decisions including planting, pruning, harvesting, and winterization with a wide acreage.
We've actually got 8 acres. We have 3 different vineyard sites. The experimental vineyard is 44 varieties and 12 vines of each, and that's just right out the back door here. And it includes table grapes, varieties from the state of Minnesota that are very cold tolerant, old hybrids like Catawba, Niagara, and then some of the newer hybrids like Chardonnay. And so it's right off the Highway 24, so a lot of people just pull off the highway and come take a look at it through the growing season. There's really good soil here, and the vines are very vigorous, and we'll get a crop off them a year from now.
Mechanization is also a big part of the HCC program.
Yeah, that's an awful lot of fun. You know, the vineyard mechanization is the issue, trying to put in a vineyard and farm it, develop a vineyard and farm it with lower human inputs and more machinery, obviously, to do. Some of the things can't be done by machine, like training a vine up the stake, but a lot of the other things can be done by machine. So we're talking hedging, leaf removal, things like that. And interestingly, we bought 2 pieces of equipment from a company in Italy called Rinieri, and the Italians are very smart engineers, and they're really one of this company is one of the ones in the world that specialize in this pretty high-tech equipment. And we actually haven't got those machines running yet, but we will shortly.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need